Yo, what is up, you guys? This is your boy NonFungible Alex here, again with another video. We have a very special guest in the house today, the real Randy Chavez. How's it going, Randy?
Going well, just Dashy. Just saying hi to Dashy, and then I'm buying some more gems right now, live on stream. Saw it here first. Getting my Google Play points here. Prepping for tomorrow's drop. I finally sold another Pokemon card, and I can afford to put a couple more $1,000 in here, and now I
Nice.
can. I don't know what to get. I'm thinking Professor Utonio. I think Adani, I'm gonna wait to get until like Omi moons, and then I don't know how much more Adani can moon. He's already at like 70,000. So I'm gonna wait for Omi to moon a little bit. I'll try to trade or buy him. What about you? What's your next NFT that you're ready to buy?
Ah, man, I don't know. I was looking through that today, and I was looking at. So as you know, comics are just shooting to the moon, right? They're way up there. I was actually looking at Corsica. She's pretty low down there. You know, she's like in the low 200s.
Hmm.
And I know at some point she was up. I think I remember seeing her like close to 800, 1,000, if I'm not mistaken. So I was looking into getting one, and there's some other ones there, but I'm just kind of looking around, looking for good deals, and trying to accumulate as much as I can.
Yeah, yeah,
Which ones
same.
are which ones are you looking at? If you don't mind me
So
asking. As soon as you mention it, people are gonna go buy the floor, and then it's just gonna be more
yeah,
expensive for you, right?
I don't think I have. I'm not like Ray Fixie where he's just like because like hey, I'm thinking about maybe Pride. Pride seems undervalued. Pride goes from like 1,400 to like 4 grand in like a day, or
Like,
or
yeah,
Dan Shawbell, who wasn't even associated with Vivi, is like, hey, me and Jeremiah Aoyang will say if you have a Todd McFarlane Batman or a Superman or a secret rare Spider-Man, the one that has 1,000 mints, you're gonna be part
yeah,
of a secret club, and they all like triple in like a day.
in less than a
But
day, yeah, that's
well, I already
crazy.
have most of the first season.
Okay,
The only sets I can't complete right now are Powerpuff Girls season two, the Ghostbusters, which this is probably the next one that I'm going to try to get. The Ghostbusters series one, where it has the platinum Ghostbusters logo, because that one is only not I would say only is 10,400 for them. But there's 10 of them as opposed to which weird. There's less of that one as opposed to the gold one. The gold one has only there's 15 of them, so there's more. There's more supply, but they're going for more. The floor's 13.9. So I was like, okay, well, that doesn't really make too much sense, even though there's only a couple more of the gold. So I think for me, I'm going to try to go for the Ghostbusters Platinum logo. I don't want to sell any of my other stuff from season two, but I do believe that within the next 2 years, I want to say 12 to maybe even 18 months, there is going to be such scarcity in the season one, where season one is just it's going to start maybe with Donnie. I don't know who it's going to start with, but there's going to be no more inventory. You can't get them on the open market. Maybe some people might cut a deal like in cash, but you might not even get that anymore just because we have the MTL license coming. But that's what I think. I think that season one is going to be, because it's the first season, that the most scarce. That
yeah.
is my answer to that.
Yeah, no, I some of those sets for me are out of range right now. So I'm trying to see what I can do with some comics to get some of those early sets. But
Yeah.
it's tough. Some of those are pretty up there. So you got to have the gems ready, and you're just buying some right now. I need to do the same. I
Yeah.
kind of been buying little comics here and there and other collectibles here and there. So I need to re up my gems. It's hard to keep them in the wallet. It's so hard to just hold them and not buy something.
Yeah. Did you get any of the Kangs, the common Kang comics?
I got one common from the drop. That's what I got during the drop, and then
Hmm.
after the drop, I bought an uncommon because I really like the green background,
Yeah.
and so I bought the uncommon. And then actually today, I was working, and then I stepped out of Twitter for a little bit, came back, and I saw the price, and I was like, what's happening? Why is this shooting up? And then
The
so in one of the group chats, Johnny Dunn, he was like, "Yeah, did you guys see what happened?" I was like, "Dude, what happened? I missed it. I was literally away for like an hour and I missed it." He was like, "Yo, there's this like double cover. Look at the second page." And I was like, "Holy moly!" So I went in to look, and yeah, I saw the double cover. So Yeah, I got the common and the uncommon in that one.
Yeah. So what is the common, like 380 now for the floor?
When I looked earlier, it was around 360, 380, something
Oh,
like that.
yeah. Which is bananas for a common. I was like, oh, because I have a couple of commons on a bunch of them. It's like maybe the other ones are still like 20, which is fine. That they'll pay $7 for one, triple your money. That's great. Did you ever get any of the first Marvel comics that came in, the commons? The floor for a little bit was literally like $3 or $4. Like, and I didn't think to get any. Did you get any on that capitalized?
I bought a few. I didn't stack up as many as I should probably, and I know is probably saying that. And but I bought a few. I don't think I got them as cheap as like 3 or 4. Um, I think once I started buying them again, they were back to like 7 or 8, or it was. I still got them. I still got them kind of low compared to what they are now, but I
Yeah,
didn't get them under drop price.
yeah. I totally misread that situation. They're going like for 3 or 4, 5 gems. Like, okay, well, if I get them now for like let's say 4, and I think eventually they'd probably go up to like their actual price that you paid the blind box for, maybe 7, or maybe even 8. But even if you do that, you wait for them to get there, and then you have to pay the fees and everything, and maybe you're only netting like 2 gems per comic. I did not think that they would, the
Yeah.
first Marvel comics they would be this big, ridiculous.
I thought they would go up, right? I was like, okay, they have to go up, especially if you're buying them like under 6.99. They have to go up, but I didn't realize they were gonna go that high. And I think some people say they saw it coming, they called it, but I don't know. It's hard to
Yeah,
imagine that, especially like with the secret rares too right now, right? I mean, I didn't expect to see 40K, 30K on some of these so fast. I figure, maybe in a year or two, or they'll, the comic collectors will come in and prices will shoot up. But I didn't expect to see, 40K Marvel one so fast.
I think it's 49 now, right?
I think so. Yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah,
I saw 48 last time. You know
I don't
what?
know if
I
those
just
people.
realized. I just realized I shared a link on Twitter, and I actually shared the link to join the broadcast.
Oh, I shared that too. Let me go delete that real quick.
I
Okay.
just deleted the tweet.
Yeah, let me go and undo that. That was just making us like when I started doing these, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. Let me delete that. Yeah, but I made sure because like, oh, just in case it might have.
Yeah,
So I was made sure to be really careful.
and
Yeah.
I when I pasted the link, it looked funny. Like the link, I was like, that doesn't look like the other links that I've shared, but I didn't even think about it. Let me
Yeah, you
let me
do
share
that.
the
I'll
actual.
I'll talk to people over here. So yeah, the floor is now 48,000 for that Marvel Secret Rare, the first one, and that is there's a lot of speculation that because okay, it's only that price just because it's the first one, and in reality, like the real world Earth One, it goes and sells for millions, as a very high grade. But I'm thinking like maybe this is just the first. Maybe it's not special. I mean, it is, but maybe it's not special in the way that people think it is. They think it's only special just because it's the first common, and maybe they're cooking into the price a little bit of the fact what it sells for in Earth One. But I think that this might be just the first one, and the rest are just going to follow eventually. Because all it takes is somebody to come in with it, like $200,000. They buy the bottom floor of the 4 comics, then suddenly the floor is 60,000. They buy another 120,000 worth, then the floor is 70,000. They buy another $70,000. That's all. If you buy $300,000-$400,000 worth, you get like 7 comics, and then suddenly the floor is 100,000. So it's like, okay, well, it's a pretty good ROI. I mean, that's just one person coming in, spending, someone coming in now, fresh, haven't spent anything yet, can spend as much as I did on Omi and collectibles just on these comics. They can double the floor instantly, and that's
Yeah.
just one person. So I think a lot of these are, like I said, why I'm rushing to try to get as many collectibles and Omi as I can. This is going to moon very quickly, in my opinion.
So are you going after collectibles or after comics, or a little bit of both?
I mean, I go to every drop, every single drop. I try to get stuff. Like even this week, they threw me for a loop this week because I know who Throg is, and there's two different versions of Throg. The one that I figured would be the one that they're using is the one that we saw in the Loki series. In the Loki series, we see a frog in a glass jar, and you see a Mjolnir over there. I was like, oh, that's the Throg that Loki, one of the Lokis, turned Thor into a frog. That was a nexus point. They just stayed that way because he didn't turn him back, and then that's why they're in that thing of Lokis. They even referenced that in not Thor Ragnarok. It was Thor 2, Thor Into the Dark World, or maybe it was Ragnarok, where he goes and Anthony Hopkins just chilling, and then Matt Damon's in part of the play, and then like Chris Hemsworth's brother is Thor, and he says, "Oh yeah, the time I turned you into a frog. I'm sorry about that because Loki's dying." Yeah, that was in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's what it is. And then they come out and say like, no, it's not him. It's actually this one. He was turned into a frog by a witch. I was like, oh, that. But either way, I'm going for that drop. I do every drop because I tell my subscribers, listen, this is just a there's almost no risk because you get something for $7, and then you could probably sell it for $12 or $15. So even if you don't like what you get at just a common, you want to sell it real quick, great. You have more money than what you started with. So.
Now that's with the comics, right? This one you're talking about a $50 blind box.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think, what do you think about those prices?
I like that, and I do feel two different ways about that.
Okay.
$7 is relatively easy for most people. Like even if it's not at the first, like, let's say like October 1st, whatever. Yeah, you have rent, you have like car insurance, all your bills are at the first of the month. So maybe you don't have that much extra cash, and you want to say, like, I'm going to wait a couple weeks. But on the 15th of the month, that second half of the month, $7 is easy to get. You have an extra $7, you can put it in there, you can get the drops. And I think that's part of the reason why these things at 30,000 editions for comics, they sell out really quickly. Mm-hmm. So I like the fact that this is going to be a $50 thing that will get a bunch of people out, which that does benefit me because I have a better chance of getting some of these. Maybe not just one, maybe I get two of them. Probably not. It's only like 14,000 mints.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I do.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. At the same time, I do feel bad for some people because it's like, okay, well, $7, even $13, maybe even $20. Like, okay, they can kind of justify that. But $50, where it's not like the comics where you're going to make a profit. $50, I don't know what this uncommon is going to go for. Yeah. Most likely, it will go for minimum what the blind box drop is, $50 or more. But it just prices a couple of people out, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. But it does benefit me. So
I feel the same way. So it will price some people out, right? That $50 price tag is it's not steep, but it's $50, right? $7.99 you can skip a coffee one day and get $7.99, or you can do you can do something and get or $6.99. I'm sorry. But that $50 price tag it's a little bit higher, but like you said, I don't think it'll dip below the mint price or the release price. I think it'll stay at least, maybe we'll see the uncommons right away, like 55 or 60, people wanting to just dump it real quick. But I think you have a pretty good chance of, at least not losing money on this drop, right?
Yeah. And I also feel like, listen, you're only going to lose money if you sell right away and you lock in those losses. But like a lot of other things, if you just wait a couple weeks, it's probably going to rise. Even if you have to wait a certain amount of months, like just go in knowing that, hey, there's a chance that I don't make this money back right away. There's a chance that I have to hodl for like a couple months. Just know that going in, and then you're probably fine. Because I think I think in the next 6 months, David Yu, according to his last interview, says we're going to have 4 new languages. Languages are already part of the app. They just haven't hit that button to turn them into the multiple languages because they don't have the support yet. But I think he said it was China, Russia, and France. So Chinese, Russian, and the French. That is going to be the 3 languages, and the 4th one I think is probably going to be Spanish.
I think they already mentioned something about Spanish in the Discord server.
Yeah.
I believe they're rolling out the Spanish translation or the Spanish version. Like I don't remember when, but they're talking about it already, and it
Yeah,
was
I feel like that
released
would be the
by
easiest.
Noah. So
Yeah, that'd probably be the easiest because a lot of people speak Spanish. I think it's a relatively easy language to learn. Like it's not a what do you call it? I think English, Russian, like Mandarin, like those are like really hard languages to learn.
yeah,
But Spanish,
Chinese,
hopefully,
Mandarin, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and Spanish, well, at least in the States, is I'm gonna say fairly common, right? And uh, there is a lot of people from like Mexico and South America and Central America that are starting to get into Vivi. You see that in Twitter all the time. There's the Vivi in Espanol. There's you know, they're having different chats, different people coming in, joining, that are Spanish speaking, and it's just a smart idea, right? If Vivi is going to grow into this global brand,
yeah.
they need to have those translations, and they need to have those editions, and I think it's a great move from them.
What I can't wait to see is like a bunch of kids from like Mexico or Peru or whatever, and maybe dollars are hard to come by. Maybe a couple of them they pitch in like $2 each. There's four of them that pitch in $2 each because that's all they have because that's probably a lot of money down there.
Yeah,
Maybe like a week's worth of work or something, and they go in and they get a comic and they get like an ultra rare, and suddenly they have a couple $100, or they get a secret rare. They have a couple $100 each, and it just changes their lives. They get everyone into it. All it takes is a couple of people, like one success story. Like, guys, this is what we got. Here's the proof. Like, I don't know if they have bank accounts or bank statements, but this is what we got. We can do such crazy things.
that would
That
be
would probably,
amazing.
yeah, that would revolutionize a bunch of different places. You see it already in the Philippines with like Axie Infinity. A
Actually,
bunch
yep.
of people that in America or wherever they do all the breeding stuff, put all the front money in, and then a bunch of people in the Philippines that go play, like in Vietnam, wherever, and they split the profits. And as they do that, it's just again just changing economies, taking countries with a lot of money, bringing it to a lot of countries with not a lot of money. That this is helping change the world, and I don't think anyone really realizes this yet.
Yeah, yeah, those Axie Infinity scholarships, right? That's what they call them, and
Yeah,
people were making more money from that than working like full time jobs for a week. They were making more money in a day than what they were making in a week.
yeah,
So you saw that influx of people into I mentioned yesterday when I was on another live with Crypto Chris that we a couple of friends and myself got into Axie Infinity just to kind of try that breeding farm and kind of try the game. And as soon as like you post about it, you get like 5 or 10 people like commenting, hey, let me be your scholar, let me be your scholar. And these are all
yeah,
people from the Philippines, right? That they realize like, hey, I can make more money playing a game,
yeah,
sitting down than in a day than what I can make in a week working outside in the fields
yeah.
or working, different jobs. So yeah, that was absolutely life changing for some people. And like you said, that would be amazing. Imagine like, right, like 3 kids getting together and, getting $7 and putting it
Yeah.
into VV, getting a secret rare that pumps to like $10,000, right? And then they sell it, they're able to cash out at some point, and
They're rich at that point.
that's what their parents make in a year, like
Yeah.
it would be insane.
And I was just thinking like something that they could cash out really quickly, like $1,300, $1,400. But yeah, there's a couple of these. Hodl them long enough, which I hope they're smart enough to do. You could have 5 figures worth, and then suddenly it's just,
Yeah,
geez,
yeah,
um, that'd be bananas. So
be
yeah,
awesome.
I think that in conjunction with on the higher end, saying like, oh, hey, you have again from season one, maybe you have like a Donnie or you have that gold Ghostbuster statue. You need to get that. I think Jeremiah Aoyang went in and he said like, there's going to be clubs, there's going to be high end clubs where you need to have a certain NFT for them to let you in, like that type of
Yeah,
highbrow stuff. I think that'd be really interesting to see.
yeah.
Proof of the NFT.
Proof of the NFT. Yeah.
Yeah, just say, oh, hey, this is what I got. I got them right here. And oh, yes, sir, or ma'am, you get access. You're fine. You don't have that. You
Come
don't
right
get.
in. Come right in. We
Yeah,
got we got we got Vivi Vault in the comments. That would be crazy about the kids getting that secret rare, ultra rare.
yeah.
We got
Yeah.
Jay Inferno. Howdy, what's up, man?
Ginferno. Ginferno. I
Luke
love it.
out
Oh,
there.
what's up, Luke?
We got Luke out there.
My
What's up, guys?
guys. My
Thanks so much
babe.
for joining, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, man, that would be insane. Um, when all these comics, and I mean, like I said, the prices right now they're insane, but they're honestly they're probably just going to keep going up, right? I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, but they're probably going to get higher,
Yeah.
and that could be life changing money to some people. Like I saw a tweet earlier, and I can't remember the guy's Twitter name handle, but he sold his Fantastic Four secret rare for like 13,000 gems.
Okay.
And he was tweeting about it. He was like, guys, like I don't know who you are. He put a screenshot of, like the transaction when you sell or when you buy. It
Yeah.
shows the buyer, the seller, the price. He posted a picture of that and said, this is life changing for me. Like $13,000 is crazy. And
Yeah.
we're talking about people in other countries doing it, but it's happening right here, right now, right? Like people are
Yeah.
getting life changing money from a $699 NFT that
Yeah.
VV drop that is no gas. You don't need to spend on
That,
Ethereum gas right
that's
now. And
crazy.
it's so crazy. $699 and you're selling it for $13,000 like 2 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
And a lot of people, I feel like they don't realize really what's coming as far as population comes in. But yeah, a lot of people, most of the world never has a comma in their bank account. They never reach that like four-figure $1,000 mark. And again, like up until I think I had it once while I was in the military, where I was just deployed, and I had five figures. I had over $10,000 in my bank account, but I didn't really have that until like 2018, after I'd been working at my at the business for a little while. And I don't know if you saw, Jeremy. This is a bunch of Chinese people. This is in China, and they're flooding out to get the new iPhone 13 out of 13 or something,
Okay.
and that's just again, you buy that iPhone, and there is maybe it has some resale value, might hold its value a little bit, like unlocking it or jailbreaking it, whatever. But for the most part, it's just like the phone that you have probably works okay. It probably works pretty well. Again, and there's not a ton of resale value. Like you can maybe, if you want to give away your phone, get some money for it. But when all of those people realize, oh, I can get a bunch of these NFTs, there's a finite amount, they're scarce, and they're going to FOMO so hard into it. And it's really humbling for me when I walk into a casino and I just see like these guys, and not like the guys that are just like, they're spending their last like $100, of their net worth because they have an addiction. I mean, like guys that just like, oh yeah, I'll roll like $700 on this bet. Oh, I lost, and it's just not a big deal to them. Like I still cringe. It's like oh my god, that's like half my rent for the month, and
Yeah.
I get it, worth a decent amount, but I get humbled by a lot of those guys that are just like, um, there is a lot more money than a lot of people think.
Yeah.
Even if
Absolutely.
we, yeah, even if we get 1% of the Chinese market, which is again 900 million smartphones, it's 9 million people coming in, and let's say out of that 1%, out of that 9 million, 1% of them are just high rollers that have a couple 100,000 in their bank account. That is what 9 million. So the 90,000 people
90,000.
just ready to go in, spending six figures like it's nothing. Jesus,
Yeah.
this
I
is
mean,
this is insane.
you can sweep the floor. You can buy the remaining editions for a specific collectible and then just getting it out of the market. Imagine that. Like
Yeah.
completely wiping out the marketplace from specific, let's just say Todd, right? I think right now is like at 1,500. You buy them all. I think there's like 200 left. So you buy them all
There's
and
that
then
little
you
left.
could yeah, and then you can basically set your own floor price, right? I think there's
Yeah,
like yeah, like 250, 260 last time I checked.
209 left. Yeah, it's
Wow.
1,500 done.
Yeah, 1,500 floor, right?
Yeah, yeah, and people don't realize how little that is. Like we've
Yeah.
been spoiled for so long because we didn't have that many people. Then we're slowly growing, slowly growing. People are like, oh man, there's a little more competition nowadays, and yeah, they don't, they do not understand how few that is.
Yeah. And
So
you're talking about the first edition of Batman in an NFT form in a digital collectible, right?
Yeah, that
Like,
that Eddie Risso's the first edition. The first appearance is that Todd McFarlane, and yeah,
yeah,
as
yeah,
there's a lot more a lot more fans than that. And even if it wasn't Batman, even if it was just like a Powerpuff, or even if it was not say Harry Potter because that's a really big brand. Even if it was something like a Hot Topic, like Funko Pop that you can get in digital format, which like people like, some don't, but just because it's the first one, the first set of the first ever drop, that's what's going to be huge. Luke, I think there's going to be a couple of them that will reach the CryptoPunks prices. I wouldn't say like all of them, like Stelina from the Unicornos are going to be $100,000. But I do think a good amount of these are definitely some of the comics. Pretty
yeah,
much anything with like 500-600 mints or less. Yeah, because there's not a lot, and all it takes is a couple of people, a couple of millionaires to come in and be like, "Hey, there's only a couple of these left," and that's it. They just keep outbidding each other because they don't need the money and they
yeah.
want that.
Yeah,
Wow.
there'll be a couple of collectibles, and it's probably going to be a combination of like low mint and highly desired, right, collectible that will reach those prices.
Yeah.
We got VV Vault saying Todd is VV's crypto punks.
Could be. I mean, there's a
Could
lot.
be,
I don't want to say
could
there's a
be.
lot. There's a lot of him compared to some of the other ones, like even one of his counterparts, Eddie Risso Batman, which is not a first appearance, first edition, but it's again there's much less than half. There's almost like a third of
Yeah,
him, as much as there is the Todd McFarlane's. He's an ultra rare. Again, that entire first set is just going to be huge.
and
Um,
that Riso, it signifies something, right? Like to me, like I was into I got into VV like late February, early March, and Riso was like the first ultra that everybody wanted. That's what you wanted to have.
yeah,
So between the first like wave of people, right? Everybody wanted to have that
yeah,
Riso. And it'll always have that in my head, like when you get a Riso, it's gonna be you're certified in VV or something, right?
yeah,
That's the way I see it. But Todd, Todd is definitely one that has a potential to just blow up, right?
yeah.
Todd Superman, and I mean, there's a reason why they picked Todd Superman and Spider Man,
Spider-Man.
right? Spider Man Secret Rare. There's a reason why they picked those three as that that secret holy grail club,
Yeah,
um, because those three are known characters, known brands that have been around for decades, and these are the first editions in digital collectibles. So yeah, absolutely, they can absolutely hit those prices with I mean, I don't know if you crypto punks, what are they now? They're millions, or are we talking like 100,000 or 200,000,
a lot of them are several hundred. There's a couple of them that are millions. Yeah, like multiple
yeah.
millions. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I know I've seen some sell for 1,000,000. I just don't know what the floor is. I don't really look for them right now, so I don't know what the
yeah. No,
floor is.
same. But again, there's a lot of people on OpenSea that just have a lot of Ethereum. They're just ETH rich, and they can go and just say like, hey, this is they got into Ethereum when it was like a couple dollars, and now it's like
Yeah,
$2,900 per Ethereum.
yeah,
Speaking of
yeah.
which, Bitcoin dumped, Ethereum went down to under 3,000, and Omi's still saying above that 0.005 mark. So Omi's got some good support, and we're itching to go. We're ready to go. We just need Bitcoin to go up a little bit.
Yeah.
Ethereum, once they finally, I think it's going to be next month. Once that Bitcoin ETF is passed, it's just going to be so huge. And again, that fake out that they did today, China's like banning crypto. Like you're
Crypto.
still going to be able to use it. You're still going to be able to collect. You just makes it harder. I mean, China is a bit communist that way, but I feel like it's just a fake out, a lot of FUD just to get people to liquidate their Bitcoin because they know that this is like the last chance, like some of the last chance you get Bitcoin at like 50,000 or under before it moons at the end of the year. I think goes to 100 grand by that point. Um,
And I mean, they ban it every month. It's like you
yeah,
hear the same thing every month. It's like, oh, China's banning crypto. Oh, okay, cool. And
again,
then next month it's like, oh, they're banning crypto. It's like, I thought they banned it last month. What happened?
yeah,
Every month is being banned, or they have some kind of FUD that's coming out of China, right?
yeah,
And there's a lot of people with a lot of money in China. There's a
yeah,
lot of millionaires, there's a lot of billionaires in China, and there's a lot of money being made over there. So, all this, this FUD that you hear is like, Is it really true, or are people just being, trying to shake out as much as they can and get more Bitcoin, get more ETH on their 3K? And like you said, there's people with some deep pockets that got into ETH really early and buying it for a couple bucks and here and there. And right now, I mean, what do you do if you have a few thousand ETH in your wallet, right? Do you cash out or do you invest it into other projects and just try to keep going?
So I'd probably do the latter, just because I know that again, cashing out. I wouldn't want to really cash out into fiat right now. Like if I had a bunch of dollars, let's say win lottery, and I have like $1 million, I do not want to keep that in cash. Again, the dollar gets devalued by what, like 12% each year, give or take, from the Federal Reserve printing so much money.
Mhm.
Even if I were to put it in, let's say, gold, that just for the most part just is a store of value. It doesn't really increase or decrease. It maybe goes up a little bit. But yeah, I'd put it in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, Binance Coin. The Ron English
Absolutely.
digital NFTs will easily cost 100K. The digital and physical ones. How familiar are you with the ones that are going to be both digital and physical copy?
I'm not very familiar with the. Is there a combo that's going to come out where you get a digital and a physical?
Yeah, apparently they're going to have ones where it's going to be, hey, you're going to get this digital copy and there's a physical one as well.
Okay.
Um, if there's only 100 of them, yeah, that'll be easily 100K, because there's just so few of them.
Oh, for sure.
and
100.
and that'll be on OpenSea as well. Because Ron English, someone asked on his Instagram, "Hey, will these be on OpenSea?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm working on." Apparently, a Chrome Rabbit.
Chrome Rabbit.
So
They got the answers.
they do. Good job, Luke. Good job. Good doing that legwork.
Chrome
Oh,
Chrome Rabbit. Apparently they look awesome. I haven't seen it. I'm gonna have to look them up now. I didn't see that. I must have slept through that one.
I mean, it's not out yet. I think it's something that it's gonna come out, because the
But
only other rabbit is the Lucky Rabbit outside of the choices.
yeah, but it's not
Yeah.
coming out through Vivi, right? He's going directly to OpenSea.
Uh, I don't know. I think it might be something that he'll do in the future, because in any future project, I think he would rather do through Vivi, just for the smart contracts, to be able to get a little bit of cash on the side. The Lucky was the other one I was thinking of getting, because it is part of that Comic Con exclusive set. It was that
Secret
secret
Rare.
rare. Oh man, before he was 2,100, now he's 2,900. So I messed up. So all right, I guess I'm not getting him. It's just not gonna. Or I'm sorry, 29.99. So it's
Oh,
three
so
grand.
3 grand. Yeah, so you can drop an ETH on it.
Yeah, yeah, drop. But again, like an ETH is nothing to some of these people that have so many now. Is
Yeah,
um, Man, I'm jealous. I
there's
mean, well,
there's
that's gonna be us though in a few years. Like, oh, you have this much OMI? Like, oh, you have like millions of OMI? It's like, yeah, yeah. What
oh
about you?
well.
Did you spend most of your investments in OMI or the NFTs?
So probably I'm like 70% NFTs, 30% OMI right now.
Yeah,
So my goal was okay. Let's my first investment was Omi. So I got my bag of Omi, and I was like, okay, just gonna hold this for 5 years and see what happens, right? But then I got more into the NFTs and Vivi, and I started putting a little bit of money here and there. So and then you started seeing those returns in those collectibles, right? They stack up quick.
yeah,
And so I figure, okay, let me just keep putting money into the collectibles, and then I'll transfer that into, as I can into Omi. But then the more you put into collectibles, the more you want to buy, and the more I don't want to sell any of them right now. So I'm like, okay, I'm
yeah.
stuck with these collectibles, but they're awesome, and like the prices are just shooting up, and it's just. But I have more money into the collectibles right now than Omi. I know
Okay.
you have a big bag of Omi. You put it out there for people to know.
Yeah, what 106.5, and the next thing that I sell, I'm gonna get up to 107. But yeah, 106.5 right now.
And that's
It's
that's
big.
one thing that I kind of wanted to talk to you about because, like I mentioned, going all in a project like this, right? And NFTs are still fairly new, fairly
Yeah,
popular. So going all in like you are on Omi, I think it's first of all is an awesome decision because that can create like generational wealth, right? It can
yeah,
create
easily.
so much money that your kids or your kids' kids, whoever, 3 generations from now, will have money from your decision, right? But it
Yeah.
is a scary decision, and some people, kind of struggle with it. So walk me through someone like the reasoning behind it. 'Cause I know you sold, I think you had Tesla, if I'm not mistaken. You sold some
Yeah.
Tesla. You've sold some of your actual collectibles, like physical collectibles, right? And just going all in and Omi, and what kind of drove you to that?
Um, I was already retired. At the time, I thought like, okay, well, if I was going to keep my Tesla, but if I take this Pokemon card that I bought that was super undervalued and I could go and sell it for what I, thought it was worth, I can buy, a couple of Bitcoin, and then I could just live off my savings for a little while, figuring, but let's say by the end of 2030, Bitcoin's like $1 million a coin. I have a couple $1 million at that point. That'd probably be fine. But I was going to do that, but then Bitcoin went from like 65,000, took a giant dump. A bunch of other coins went down with it. So I was like, this is perfect. I can get a bunch more Bitcoin. But then I was in Earth 2, which is it's a metaverse game similar to like, Sandbox or Upland, V Park, My Neighbor Alice, whatever. And and you'll have more money in the future. Some small countries. Maybe depends on the country. There was the CEO of Earth 2 posted like a cryptic like message on Twitter, and some of the letters should not have been capital, but they were, and some of the letters spelled out Go Chain. I was like, oh, their crypto is going to be on Go Chain. That's what they're using. Okay, so I go and search a bunch of cryptos that are on the Go Chain. I'm looking for something that's really, really easy to buy. There's a lot of supply, and I find Omi. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what VV or Comey was. I didn't know that this dream team of people existed. And I think like, oh, okay. I find Omi, and then I see Earth 2 Mastery. He's the one that made a couple of Omi vids already. I was like, oh, okay, I know him from Earth 2, and he's like, all right, big supply. He likes, the tokenomics, and then I see Orion Crypto Traders video on the tokenomics. Say, hey, there's a bunch of supplies, but they're gonna get burned every single time you use Omi. Explains everything. It's like, okay, so I really need to get into this. I found out Omi was attached to the VV app, and that was owned by Akomi. And I didn't at the time didn't know who David Yu or Dan Crothers was. Like going into this, like this looks interesting, but it's two big CEOs that I'm gonna have to go and do a bunch of research on. Like just saying, like, okay, how do they do in interviews? What's their mannerisms like? What's their vision? What have they done in the past? And that all checked out. They're both very successful. But when I saw that Alfred Arcon was in, I was like, shut up and take my money. I was like, I immediately like YouTube videos, how to figure out how to buy. I contacted my friend Aria Realty, and he's just like, yeah, I can help you buy it, because it was hard for me to buy in New York.
Yeah.
And I immediately started putting a couple $1,000s like every other week, because at the time I was getting a lot of money from my aging receivables from my high risk lending business, and I was getting like $4,000 a week. So like most of that was going into more Omi, and this is when it was at like 0.007, 0.005, 4, all the way down. And I just realized that NFTs at that time was like, okay, I knew it from NBA Top Shot, and I knew of CryptoPunks and CryptoKids. Like, okay, so this is a very new market, and it is. There's a meme called like, or they talk about Benjamin Franklin. It's like, how high do you have to be to think about electricity when there is no electricity? And I was like, whoa. And I thought like, okay, these guys were thinking about NFTs years before like I even heard of it. I was like, these guys are something special. They have Alfred Arcon. So at that point I was like, okay, I wasn't going to sell my Tesla, but I was so far into it, and I was just in love with the team. I was like, sold my Tesla, I sold all my Pokemon cards, and I knew it. There's this guy called Dave Lee on investing, not Dan Lee that we all know. It was Dave Lee. He said that in like 2011, he went to his wife and he said like, hey, babe, listen, I'm going to do something and it might not work. If it doesn't work, we're going to have to move in with one of our parents. We might have to, or to sell the house, whatever. But I think going all in on Tesla is a really good idea. And I had done that in like 2019, 2020, and I saw that, okay, well, Tesla could maybe at the time, 10x by 2030. And I'm looking at this coin like this is 10x by the end of the year. There's no question. There was not even a hard call. So I did that. I'm still trying to sell some things, and that's the whole story. I know it's a really long-winded answer.
No, no, that's I love to hear people's stories. Like everybody has a different way that they found out about Omi and about Vivi, and I love to hear that. For you, like for you, you discovered it. You found it through a tweet of somebody referring you to GoChain, and then from there
Yeah,
doing your own research. So that's awesome. That's awesome. A lot of the stories that I hear is like same for me is I from a friend of mine kind of mentioned it, and then I started doing the research, and I went from there. But knowing that you found it, and then you did your own research, you went all in, like that's awesome. It's just you feel like it was just meant to be, right?
yeah. I get lucky. I was born lucky. I think, and it's going to get a little too meta for a bunch of the listeners. I don't know how many we have here, uh, but where I think that there's a decent possibility that we're all just like computer code. Sometimes we confirm that with glitches in the matrix. And if we're a game, if we're just an RPG, whatever, somebody that's playing, that's controlling my avatar is like, I'm just going to put all the stats into luck and just see where it goes. Like, he's not good looking, he's not really big and strong. Like, I'm going to go all into luck. And I've gotten very lucky throughout my life. I was born in Peru, which is like the worst starting point, like in Peru, and then I get adopted out of there. So basically, winning the lottery, and then I come to America, and this is so money. Thanks, AP Bulldog.
They like your
And
story, man.
oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, so I go and I get brought to America, and I fall in love with animals, and I get a job in an animal hospital. When I was younger, and I do really well there. Everything I did, I just happened to do really well because I was passionate about it. Um, I think the influence of Captain America is a big reason on why I was so successful is because they in that Civil War run in the mid 2000s. I bring this up a lot on my streams. It is the writers of Marvel, it's their reaction to the Patriot Act in the US, which basically kind of strips away some freedoms, like, hey, terrorist attacks, we're at war, we have to do this to keep us safe. And they did something similar with you can see it in the movies, Captain America Civil War, it's a superhero registration act.
Mhm.
And Captain America's like, no, this is wrong. I fought in Germany against the Nazis. Like, I know what happens to a country that gives up their freedom, gives up guns, whatever. It's like, no, I've seen this before. And you have a bunch of Jewish grandparents, whatever. They'll tell you exactly what happened. And his speech on saying, like, if it's your commander, the government, the press, everyone's telling you that something wrong is something right, and they tell you to move. You say, no, it is time to plant yourself like a tree by the river of truth and say, no, you move. And I found that so many things that people were saying that they just did not seem right. Like having people at their grooming kids from 15, 16, 17, say, no, you got to go to college. You got to go in a bunch of pay for all this debt. It's going to come in. The government's going to take care of it. And you're going to go and hopefully get a good job on the outside. And I rarely saw that. I rarely saw people go and get jobs in the field that they graduated in. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing this. Parents like, well, you're not staying here. So I moved out at 19, did not go to college, and was working a couple jobs. Finally got into the military, which was a good decision to get in, but a better decision to get out. Before I got a little too messed up, and then I was going to go to school to be a X-ray technician, a rad tech, and then I got lucky finding a job in high-risk lending at a private bank. Found out I was really good with risk analysis, risk and data analysis, and even the people that were there that were smarter than me, that were saying like, hey, we have to diversify a little bit. You don't put all your money into one deal. And I was like, listen, that's easy for you to say. Y'all have like hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm coming in here with like less than 3,000. I like this guy. I like the way he talks. I like his business model. I was like, I can just make more money. It's not a big deal if I lose everything. So I did that. I keep getting money and money in, and I've never had an issue with outside of the pandemic where no one was allowed to work. So I lost a bunch of defaults. But basically, I was really lucky in a lot of things that I had. I had a lot of really good mentors. I had a lot of good commanders in the military, good mentors outside, and I I went all in on Tesla, some Pokemon cards because I knew. But I think a lot of that was luck too. Um, I mean, a bunch of people like yourself, if you would have heard about this, you said you got back in February, March. If you would have heard back in December, you probably would have got in December, but
Yep,
just you
absolutely.
didn't learn about it. And at that point, you would have like 100 extra money by this point.
I know,
Only
yeah.
yeah,
I was it's crazy how just a couple of months, can make a huge difference on the price, right? Like, when I first bought Omi, it was 0.002 was the first buy that I did, you know?
nice.
So I got in right before the
It
spike
mooned.
to yeah, it moved to a cent, to 1 cent, and I was like, "This is gonna be amazing," and, seeing it in my Trust Wallet and, and then coming back down but I didn't know at that point, like, what should I do? There was really I was still learning NFTs and, I had bought crypto, like, years back, but I was so involved in it, right? So, I was just my goal was just buy it and hold it for now. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to trade, right? So I'm not gonna mess around it because it's so easy to, well, let me sell. I think it's gonna go down. Let me sell it, right? And but without any technical analysis, like, there's such a bad idea to do that. So uh, I was holding it, but I got in like right before it mooned. But few months before that, you're talking about 0.000 something, right? Like three zeros instead of just two
No, that was
zeros,
four zeros. Yeah.
four
So
zeros, yeah. Yeah, so, $2,000 investment would have gotten you a ton of OMI. So, got people here saying that they
200.
they you're gonna cause a glitch,
Yeah.
and then I got somebody saying you're on a whole other level.
Yeah. I mean, there's you get demonetized if I mention certain things. Is that like a? Well, I'm just asking. I don't know if you want.
No, go ahead, man, I don't care.
Oh, okay.
You
So, my first and why I worked so hard at the high risk lending. I had two businesses. One was high risk lending. One was the high end Pokemon cards. When I got enough money from the high risk lending business, went all on Pokemon. Um, I first time I took LSD was like 2015, and it was just like bliss. It made me think. I think I like to think I think outside the box already, but it really went outside the box, and I was just like, wow. It made me just want to like help people. It made me just want to bring people up to other levels, just friends and everything. And then the first time I was like, okay, well, hallucinogens probably, if taken correctly and safely, probably be pretty eye opening and pretty good. So I did a lot of research, like, oh, mushrooms. I hear people go and they see like these aliens and they talk to them and like, no, it's real, it's real. I didn't see aliens, but I was in a dark room and I shot out into space and I go past, the Milky Way, I go past the Andromeda galaxy and I don't know where I am. And I see these two solar systems that, one's over here, and they're communicating with each other. And I was like, okay, so either like the whole universe is just a living, breathing being, and we're just tiny cells in it. On like the Earth might be a cell, and or there are beings that occupy the planets that make up that solar system, and there are beings that occupy the other solar system, and they're interacting. And I'm like, okay, if this is a game, if we are actually a large scale like giant chessboard or whatever, humans are not even a player on the board because some humans have control of certain aspects of like the dirt that they're on, like America, Canada, but no, they're not really united.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, what's the best way to get people united, like on a united front? But no, I think there was Project Bluebeam. Forget which government thing that it was, but I think it was Reagan that said, wouldn't the differences between Russia and China, I'm sorry, wouldn't the differences between the US and Russia just become absolutely obsolete? Wouldn't they just completely dissipate? if there was a threat of Martians or threat of another being coming in from another world. It's like, oh wow, it's really good. But how to get people on that level is like, okay, well, if you give everyone, like internet, if you have enough money to give them like clean water and you can do that, I was like thinking, okay, well, we can maybe unite and become multi-planetary. And then Elon Musk started SpaceX. I was like, oh, okay, I guess he's doing that. So I switched to animals, but yeah, I thought that was like, okay, we should probably try to, and that's why I do live streams also, even just to get the ideas out there, even if it resonates with just a couple of people. I think that's a good idea. Sounds like the end of Watchmen. Yeah, they did reference that in Watchmen. I think Watchmen was actually written in the '80s, and I think that's why that's how they did that movie in the 2000s. I know it's probably a little weird, a little out there. I'm never gonna have this guy on again. Like,
No, man. So that's no, not at all. The complete opposite. Because we can have a talk on just this one topic for hours. I
Yeah,
love this. I love this topic, and I'm a big Joe Rogan fan, and he talks about psychedelics all the time, and those stories, and those are the podcasts that he does that I listen to. Like I look for those podcasts where they talk about all this trippy stuff, and
yeah.
he has comedians and he has some politicians, and I skip those and go to the crazy podcast. So we can talk about this for hours and have different episodes for this. This is gonna be awesome. I love that story. Like just to think, right? Like this, we live in a world where we just think like we're it, right? And when you experience with psychedelics, you realize like we're nothing compared to this big world, right? And like some people may, like you said, may get turned off by that, but it's a crazy thing to think about. But I completely agree and believe that something like that, there's something bigger that we can't understand, right? So that's awesome to hear that story and how you can relate that to your life and your experiences, and how all of that, like you said, luck and this and that brought you into Omi and Vivi and going
Yeah,
all in on that. That's
yeah.
so
Because
awesome.
I think I would be doing other people a disservice, the future me, future people of like the world, animals, if I didn't go all in. A bunch of people are saying, like, I've heard this so many times throughout my life, saying, like, hey, you shouldn't do that. If I didn't go all in on high risk lending and Tesla and Pokemon, I wouldn't have had the close to $500,000 to put into everything, and I wouldn't be here if I had listened to people. And
Yeah.
if I'm wrong, and I even told my girlfriend, listen, I might have to go back to work. I might have to move in with you. I might have to like get like multiple jobs. I'll work at work, then I'll work at like a 7-Eleven a part time, whatever. And she's like, no, like I trust you, and some it's weird. I can see it. I can see where this is going because I've seen this happen before. A disruptive company that is so innovative, like they're disrupting the collectibles community, they're disrupting real estate because you're going virtual real estate in the VVverse, and being so innovative as to say like, hey, we're going to make a whole new platform. We're bringing all of these giant companies on our side, and nobody else can get them, at least not right away, not for several years.
Right.
It's a no-brainer. So I'm gonna be like, listen, you didn't help me. A lot of people that telling me not to do this, you didn't help me get here. I'm gonna go and do this and forget what we were talking about.
No, it's there people are saying
Joe
this
Rogan,
has
Alex.
the Joe Rogan, Alex Jones vibes.
It's so great. Joe,
This
it is
is
Joe Rogan.
awesome. Hey, anytime you guys want to compare us to Joe Rogan, we'll take it. We'll take
Yeah,
it anytime. No worries. You got
that's what the
APB
much.
looking for mushrooms out there.
I had. Oh, so have you? Speaking of mushrooms, did you see yesterday on Nintendo Direct? I don't know how big of a video game guy you are. Nintendo Direct, they announced that they're doing a Super Mario movie at the end of 2022.
Okay. No, I didn't. I didn't hear that.
All right, so I did two videos on this, and there is an animated movie. So like Chris Pratt is being like Mario as the voice, and Charlie Day, the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, he's being Luigi. Seth Rogen's Donkey Kong. There's a bunch of really crazy stuff, and I made one. The first video I made was saying like, this is why Akomi hasn't announced Nintendo yet. They've
I
probably
saw that tweet. I saw that tweet from you.
yeah. They had Marvel. for like 18 months before they announced it. I was like, okay,
Mhm.
they definitely have Disney, definitely have all this stuff. Why aren't they announcing Nintendo? Okay, well, they had James Bond probably for God knows how long. They didn't announce it until the movie was about to come out. I was like, okay, they probably want to wait. One, they want to wait because there's only a couple 100,000 users. They probably want to wait until we have a million or well over a million users before they say like, hey, we have Nintendo and this is the first one. And if they start coinciding these NFTs with movies, it would make some poetic sense that, okay, well, they might announce Pokemon next year for Pokemon Day in February, and maybe they'll announce this in, Thanksgiving, November of next year for the release on December 21st. And so far, the cast is Mario, Luigi, Bowser, there's Donkey Kong, there's Toad, they're going to have Cranky Con, and there's just so many different things that they could do with that. They could go for, again, depending on the movie, they could have Mario's family in there, his dad, Mario Jumpman, the original Mario. They could have Pauline. They already have Cranky Con, so that's Donkey Kong's grandpa. Uh, there's so much that they can do with that. I cannot wait for certain NFTs to be announced. What's one that has not been announced, but you think that they have, or you want them to have?
Man, I don't know. I've thought about it, but it makes so much sense what you're saying because like with the Throg, right? I believe there's a comic that Marvel is releasing. So them
October.
dropping Throg now, it's makes perfect sense with that. So waiting for a movie or something to be like released by one of the major studios, it's like free marketing for them. Like hey, there's this movie coming out, here's the NFT for it. There's no need to market. You save on all those
Yeah.
costs, and the movie's doing all the marketing for you. So the brand itself is bringing you the marketing. So they're your partners. They're letting you use their IP, and they're doing the marketing for you. I mean that makes so much sense, right? And the fact that they have over 200 brands already, and they've only released what like 10, 20 maybe that they have right. I mean, so far in collectibles. So
Yeah.
imagine how many of the brands are coming out, and I would love to see more car collectibles. I love cars, so
Fast and
any
Furious.
car.
Fast and
Yeah,
Furious.
Fast and the Furious, yeah, that would be awesome, and get some trucks in there. I love to see a truck somewhere in there, and
Yeah.
that would be my where I just probably go broke buying all those NFTs.
Well, they have Hasbro. So Hasbro has Transformers. So you're probably going to get some sweet cars. Even they have GM also. So
Yeah,
even if
yep,
you
they have
don't have the
GM.
cars, yeah, even if you don't have the cars that you want from Fast and Furious, which probably are, you have Transformers, those cars. You have GI Joe, those cars. The truck from Jurassic Park. A lot. And again, if they have Nintendo, you're probably going to have like Wario's motorcycle. You're probably
Yep.
going to have Bowser's tank or whatever. Nintendo involved with VV gamification. I I suspect that they probably will be in the future if we have them, but there's no confirmation right now that they do.
Yeah.
Um, we're just hoping. This is just pure speculation.
We're just two guys talking about
Yeah.
Vivi and speculating on future. We don't know anything. Well, at least I don't. I don't know. Randy may know, and he just won't tell us. But
Um,
I don't
no,
know.
I've thought about it. I've thought about like asking. I just don't want to work again. Like I know these guys are working so hard, and
Yeah,
I would want to go and impress them and be like, I'm working just as hard as you, but to do that, I'd have to be working like 70, 80 hours a week. And I was like,
yeah,
it's not worth it. Like I can't do it. I can't. I mean, it probably is worth it. But it's just like I'm fine having my what I have right now.
yeah,
Um, yeah, but I also like the only thing I could really do. So I don't really have any coding skills, or I don't really have any graphic design skills. Would maybe be to like I'm already giving them. I outside of today, I've been streaming nonstop, literally for like no less than 4 hours a day, like every single day for them. So it's there's not much more I could do.
yeah,
And if I do work for them in another aspect, another capacity, I would have to stop doing that. And you know, no,
yeah. No, and if you like what you're doing now, just keep on doing it, right? There's no need
yeah, it's
to
fun.
go into, yeah, it would be awesome to get involved with the project, but they have a vision, they have the project going. what you're doing for them, and I'm sure they know it. All this, the marketing, all the exposure that you're getting for them. There's big guys like you. There's Johnny. There's Traps. There's all these other, and I'm sorry if I didn't call your name, but there's a lot of YouTubers right now doing like basically free marketing for them, and all this exposure it's paying off, and for them this is awesome, and I'm sure they recognize, or at least I hope they do, and they I don't want to say like they don't pay you, but they bring you on board, or maybe you get rewarded somehow. But I'm sure they're aware of the all the streaming that you're doing, and I mean
Yeah, no,
I see your links all the time pop up, and it's like, man, this is you're going hard, and like this is my what third stream this week, and I'm already like tired, and so
yeah.
and my streams are like an hour long, so I don't go in for hours and hours, and
Oh, I did a
I can,
3 hour one last night.
yeah, man,
um,
I can see like all the marketing that you're doing for them.
yeah, it's easier with another person because doing it by myself, like after an hour and a half, like my throat hurts and it's like I'm just downing water and it's like, but so it's easier with another person. I had a 4 hour podcast with Foster Hilt on Wednesday, and I was like, oh my god, I went live again that night. Went 3 streams yesterday, and the last one was like 3 hours. Like this is too much. I have I'm going live for Throg tomorrow, but do you know who Kazomo Medici is?
I do not.
So Kazomo Medici was this random person. No one really knew who it was. Just buying up a bunch of NFTs, and got a pretty big following. Had like tens of thousands of followers. And then the other day, Snoop Dogg on his Twitter, he's like, "Yeah, by the way, guys, I am Kazomo Medici," and everyone's like, "What? Like he's the one that's been like buying all of these NFTs? He spent like I don't know how many tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars on them, worth millions now." He's big on Sandbox, where Sandbox is it's like just another metaverse.
Metaverse.
Once we get, I don't think we have any really big celebrities. We have like Sarah Austin, we have Jeremy Padua, we have Dan Schawbel, Jeremiah Aouyang, a bunch of verified people on Twitter, but nobody as big as Snoop Dogg yet.
No, no, yeah,
That is
not yet.
really really into this. But it's going to be cool. Like if you have people like NonFungible Wonderful, just making raps about this, like the Immutable X remix.
Man, his
I think
songs are legit.
yeah, it's great.
So he actually provided a chop and screw version of I got NFTs for my intro. So that's what I use for my intro on my videos.
Oh, that's epic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shout out to
Pineapple Gang.
Pineapple Gang.
Yeah, he's great. Who's your favorite YouTuber? What do you got? A big UFC fighter. Oh, who's a big UFC fighter?
APB saying we have a big UFC fighter.
Yeah. Let us know.
I'm not sure who.
I'll fight him for charity, and he'll kick my ass in 8 seconds. But I'll do it.
Can we do it 2-on-1? I mean, he may just do it in 10 seconds between both of us,
yeah,
but
probably.
we'll do it for charity.
You ever watch WWE?
I used to when I was younger. I not so much anymore. But I do watch a lot of UFC though, so I'm curious to see who the UFC fighter is.
Yeah. There was this one run that they had where this guy Orlando Jordan was beaten by Chris Benoit, and like he beat him in like 28 seconds or something like that. And they had this segment like, what can Chris Benoit do in 30 seconds? So he can drink his coffee in 30 seconds, go to the bathroom, eat a pretzel. And then they had this one match where, Orlando Jordan's like, I got this. And then it goes to like 35 seconds, like, yes. And then like he eventually, he pins him, and it's like, he couldn't even beat me in 30 seconds. Hopefully if we can, I think for UFC, but I don't know. I did box, so if I did a boxing match with the UFC fighter, I could probably go a couple rounds. But if I'm just in the octagon, they're just gonna take out my legs, and that's all she wrote, man.
That's it. That's game over. A couple of those calf kicks, man, and this game over.
Oh, those are so painful. I did one UFC class with a guy Eric, and he just nothing but kicks. Like I'm gonna die, and my whole leg was like purple the next day. I was like, oh, this is This is not
Was
good. Like, this is horrible.
was this like a sparring session, or was this like an actual? Is there footage of this? Because I want to see it now.
No, I used to. It was years ago. I used to have a. It was on one of my old phones that I had pictures of just the next day, where my whole outside of my leg was black and blue. But it was like, hey, no, this is leg day. This is toughening up your legs. And it's like, I understand the premise, but I don't know if this typical practice. But he did Muay Thai as well, and he would have this little like metal, like a wood thing, almost like for stick fighting, and he would like whack his shins. Like, listen, you got to give yourself micro fractures, so that this way the calcium that hardens, and you could whack, with your
Yeah,
leg on it. It's like that's not
yeah.
painful.
That's what happens when you see those leg breaks in UFC fights. Is people that are they've been kicking but not for so long, where their calves are not their shins are not so strong. So when they that bone hits the other bone, it just pop, it just snaps. So those
Yeah.
Muay Thai guys, man, those kicks. If you've been doing it for years, those kicks are hard.
You ever see a dude take down a tree?
I
It's like a
see.
bamboo tree, and like,
Yeah, I've
yeah, and
seen
he
those
just
videos. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The dude just smashing that tree, and that looks so
like
painful, right?
just doing this, it hurts my calf. Just like, it hurts my shins. Like, this doesn't feel good. So I got to man up, man. I don't know.
Yeah, man, that's yeah. Well, Randy, we're going here in about an hour. I know we can probably keep going, but I don't want to keep you too long. We can definitely have another episode if you're down. And like I said earlier, thank you so much for being flexible with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was good.
Sure
But
thing, man. We'll talk about NFTs. We'll talk about anything you want to talk. I don't
I'm
care.
game. Everyone, subscribe. I'll be live
Thank,
tomorrow morning at 10:30. Going on that Throg thing. Gonna go hard. Go hard on that Throg thing.
Go hard
Uh,
on it.
yeah. So, all right. I love you guys. I'll talk to y'all
Hey,
later. Goodbye.
thank you so
Meow.
much. Thank you everybody
Goodbye.
for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, leave some comments, follow us on Twitter, all that good stuff, guys. Thank you so much.
Oh
See you
yeah.
see you next time.